Michigan fans, you got your new head coach. Finally. It's happened before the transfer portal opened. Good news there. But anyways, first off, hope everybody's having a good day so far. Hope everybody's had a good week. Hope everybody enjoyed Christmas. Hope everybody got to spend a lot of time with everybody around them. And yeah, so let's get into the video. So, Kyle Whittingham, new head coach at Michigan. I did mention him in my last video being a new potential candidate and kind of said it wouldn't surprise me if this happened. And I did kind of predict it to happen this week. It did kind of happen, or it happened last week. I predicted it this week, the week before the portal. But anyway, you got your guy. You got him in place by the transfer portal, or before the transfer portal opens officially. So that is massive. So you're going to be able to retain players. You're going to be able to go get players. Now, there have been some players already say that they're staying because of Kyle Whittingham. I think Kyle Whittingham's a good hire. I think the fit is kind of strange, only because only because he's really only coached out west. So it's going to be interesting to see him kind of do the recruiting stuff in the East because, you know, he's really only recruited like the California area and the in-state Utah area. So going to recruit the Michigan area is going to be a little different. I think that fits are a little overrated in coaching talks because I think you'll kind of be able to pick up in recruiting grounds wherever, especially if you're just a good head coach, and Kyle Whittingham is that. So I wouldn't take too much out of that. I think Kyle Whittingham's going to be just fine. I've heard some things saying that it could be a bridge, like a 1 to or a 2 to 3 year thing, and then get somebody. I don't think so. I think Kyle Whittingham is going to be there for as long as he coaches now. You know, I think this is a job that he really wanted. I think that was part of the reason that he left Utah because keep in mind he left Utah. He didn't get fired that we know of. I think he just left. He just stepped down. And when you step down at a school that you do like and you've been there for a long time, kind of raises some questions as to did he know this was going to happen? So, anyways, you got him. You got him now. I think it's a good hire. He's already making moves. He's already making moves. He went out and got Jay Hill from BYU, defensive coordinator. So you already got your defensive coordinator in place now. Jay Hill. If we're talking about Jay Hill, I'm a massive Jay Hill fan. So, under Jay Hill, BYU's defense really showed a lot of improvement from 2023 to 2024 if you look at it. We'll get into some numbers right now real quick. So, this is 2024. 13th nationally in total yards allowed, 308 yards allowed per game, 35th in total offense allowed, while also ranking 18th in 2023, by the way. Um, 2024, he ranked 21st in points per game allowed, which was only 19 points per game, which is outstanding, obviously. Um, he showcased really a top tier defensive unit, and they're known for making big plays. If you watch this BYU defense, you know they make guys turn the ball over. They're going to force turnovers. That is a big part of their game. If you look at 2024, 2.3 takeaways a game. That was first in the country. This year, 1.8 takeaways per game. That is 17th, I think. 17th in the country. So, Jay Hill's defense, they play aggressive. They play very aggressive. And there are a few guys over at BYU that I think he's going to bring with him. BYU has some dudes on that defense. And I think that Jay Hill is going to bring some of those guys in because Jay Hill he was loved at BYU. He was loved by the players at BYU. He was loved by the fans at BYU. They didn't want him to go. So I think that, like I said, some players are going to follow. I think a few will. And there's some good ones over there in Provo. So anyway, back to the numbers. Like I said, they force turnovers. They also don't give up big plays. So if we're looking at 20 plus yard plays allowed, They ranked 15th in the country in 2024. I don't know how that was in 2025. I don't have those numbers, but I mean, it has to be somewhere around there too. Because I watched every BYU game. They didn't give up many big plays. They gave up some here and there. They didn't give up many. Which, when you're forcing a lot of turnovers, you're probably going to give up that big play here and there because you're playing that aggressive. But it's not going to happen that often. 22nd in scoring defense in 2025, 14 interceptions in 2025. That's not even counting fumbles. That's just interceptions. You know, his defense, like I said, they make the guys, they make their opponents turn the ball over. So if you get more possessions with Bryce Underwood and whoever's your running back going in next year, if you're Michigan, I think you like that. You like that. Especially with Kyle Whittingham, who I believe can I think he's gonna help bring out much better out of Bryce Underwood than what Sherrone Moore did. So Bryce Underwood, if he stays, I think he's gonna end. I think he's gonna be very good. Look what Kyle Whittingham did with Devin Dampier. I think you'll see something similar. I think you'll see something very similar with Bryce Underwood. And if I'm a Michigan fan, I think that excites me because Devin Dampier looked very good this season. And it is undeniable that Bryce Underwood has a much higher ceiling than Dampier does. So that's something to keep an eye on. Now, like I said, a lot of BYU fans were kind of mad that Jay Hill left. I think it was just bound to happen. You know, I think Kyle Whittingham was going to end up with Jay Hill anyway, even if he stayed at U. No, not really if he stayed at Utah, but especially when Kyle Whittingham took the Michigan job, I think we all knew Jay Hill was taking the defensive coordinator job at Michigan. So that's that. Sorry, guys, I've been sick. Kyle Whittingham also retained Tony Alford. So before we do talk about Tony Alford, I do want to talk about a little bit of what Kyle Whittingham said in the press conference. Seems like he's going to bring in a lot of his guys. Seems like he's only going to retain two or three guys from the coaching staff. So expect to see a full new staff at Michigan, or almost a full new staff. But anyway, one of the guys he is retaining is Tony Alford. And I think he kind of had to do that. You know, he's been crucial to this Michigan offense. He's really the only spark plug to this Michigan offense was build a good run game, and Tony Alford's done that. He's developed his running backs at a very high level. They've had very good productivity out of the run game for several years now. I think you had to bring him back. I think it was a great move to bring him back, and I think a lot of Michigan fans will also agree there. I think that was probably one of their priorities was hopefully Kyle Whittingham brings back Tony Alford, and they did. So, or he did. So I think that's a great hire. I think, or not a great hire, but great job at retaining him for Kyle Whittingham. And you're still going to see the same productivity out of Michigan's run game as long as he's there, I think. So that was a good job. But so far, I think Kyle Whittingham's done a good job with the little bit of moves that he has made. If you did enjoy this video, I would greatly appreciate if you did drop a subscribe. A lot of Michigan content coming, especially as Kyle Whittingham makes some new hires, as guys hit the transfer portal, as Michigan attacks the transfer portal. Because I think Kyle Whittingham will attack the transfer portal, and I think you'll see some of those Utah guys come over as well. And Utah has some guys over there too. You're gonna see a lot of Utah. You're gonna see a lot of Utah over in Michigan next year between Jay Hill and between Kyle Whittingham at Utah and BYU. So you're gonna see some guys from those squads up in Utah come in or out in Utah. So yeah, lots of content coming that from that, and lots of more coaching content coming as well. So hope you guys enjoyed. Hope you guys have a good rest of your day, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.